In the past couple months, you've been focused on getting the financing in place for Silver Viper, and would love to hear how things have gone in the past month and anything that you can share with people who, especially for the shareholders who very much looking forward to seeing you be able to get out back drilling.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I've hinted. I can't say too much about what's been being worked on. I am flying tomorrow to meet with a group in person that we've been progressing along with that is very interested in getting involved on the project. Everyone will know when there's a deal signed and in place, and we won't sign a deal unless it makes sense for our shareholders. But we're like I said, we've been looking at all options of what's the best way to advance the project and provide value for our shareholders, and we're going to continue to do so. So I guess along with all my shareholders, fingers crossed, but I believe we will get a deal done, hopefully in fairly short order. And, I think we're really all really excited to get La Virginia fired back up because this is one of Mexico's best undeveloped gold silver projects that there is. So we're off to a great start, but we think we can make this into something much, much larger. And we're excited to do so. But it's just getting through. In spite of metals prices going up, it's still been a very tough market for juniors. Even some of the most, the best, the most active have taken hits here over the last few months on their share price and are at or below kind of their highs, or not at their highs, so they're at or below what their average costs have been over the last 2, 3 years. It's still just the start on the equity side of money slowly kind of coming back in. You're seeing the majors have performed much better than the juniors, which is always what happens at the start of these cycles on the equity side. And so that money eventually starts trickling down. A lot of the times that, like you said, it'll skip kind of the mid-tier companies. It goes from the producers and then people jump down to the juniors because they know, there's a lot more money that can be made if they make the right bets in the junior space. So I think that's coming. I think you asked me if I thought it was going to be a good year for metals prices. I do think it'll be a very good year for the equities. In spite of metals prices, even if they hover and stay flat, I think the equities, there are a lot of signs pointing to the fact that the equities are going to do well. And in the case of interest rates coming down, that's a big trigger normally for the equity side because it comes cheaper and cheaper for the large funds or the large high net worth investors to borrow money and make better returns and putting it into an industry like ours. So again, I think all signs are pointing that the equities market is due and is lagged dramatically behind what the metals prices have done. And so you're going to see that lift. And, even if you bet in the bad companies on that one, you're still going to do well because those types of runs are good for all companies. The best will obviously go on much larger runs than the other companies. But I think we are coming into a really, really good year in 2025 for the equity side, especially the junior equities. And I mean, hopefully I'm right on that. But in the interim, we're going to do is position ourselves to be in the best position possible for one of those cycles. And we've got one of the best assets in Mexico to do it. So I'm excited to finally advance the asset.
Yeah, and Steve, something that you mentioned in there is that obviously you want to be out advancing it. At the same time, you want to do a deal that's good for the shareholders, which I think both of those are important. And I know I hear from some of them, and I'm sure you hear from plenty of people and shareholders who are very much saying, let's get out there, let's do this. Although I think if you went out and did a deal that wasn't a good deal to be able to do that, you'd get killed for doing that too. So I think we talked about this a little bit the last time, but just if there's anything you'd like to comment there, because I understand it, the reasons that people want to, and you want to see
Yeah.
it move forward, but obviously you don't want to do a bad deal to get to that place.
Oh, doing a deal is easy. I could do a deal tomorrow, but the investors wouldn't like it. I could sell the project 100% for heavily under, well, we're already under market value, but even if I sold the company at 100% premium for where we are now, investors would crucify me. Selling out what is a world-class asset at, 9, 10 cents, that isn't why they invested in what we're looking for. We're going to do a deal that makes sense and provides the groundwork for everyone to make money moving into the future on the asset and in the company. And that's the type of deal we're looking to make. It's very easy to sell the asset for pennies on the dollar, but then I would get crucified. That's not what we're trying to do. So it's finding the right partner who's positioned in the right way and working together for their shareholders and our shareholders and making sure that it's positioned to become, a major powerhouse moving into what I think is going to be a great market for the equities. So we'll see, but that's what we're working towards right now, and that takes time, finding the right and making sure that your partner is positioned and lined up and ready to do and act on everything they promise they can do.